what if the secret ingredient to life on Earth wasn't actually cooked up here at all? Like, imagine tiny sparks of life, or maybe just the recipes for it, traveling across these massive cosmic distances, delivered on shooting stars.
It's a pretty wild thought.
Mind-blowing, right? Watch the video until the end and you will be surprised. Welcome everyone to the Deep Dive.
Yeah, great to be diving in.
Today we're not just scratching the surface. We are plunging headfirst into this really captivating possibility that life on our own planet actually has stellar origins.
And we've got some fascinating angles to explore it from.
We do. Our guides on this cosmic quest are, well, a mix of sources. The science behind the theory of panspermia, the profound insights of philosopher Alan Watts, and even those ancient kind of star-soaked myths from Sumerian civilization.
Yeah, it's quite the combination science, philosophy, mythology, all circling this fundamental question.
Exactly. Our mission today is, well, simple but also kind of epic. To try and grasp the very roots of life and our, undeniable connection to the cosmos. And the big question that's going to drive our exploration is this. Were we, in some really fundamental way, actually seeded by the stars?
It's remarkable, isn't it, how these seemingly separate fields, hard science, deep philosophy, ancient stories, they all seem to converge on this one profound question of where we actually come from. And the idea that, life's building blocks could travel through space, that's not just some sci-fi fantasy anymore. It's a real scientific hypothesis, and there's actually a growing pile of evidence supporting it.
Right.
And then when you bring in the wisdom of someone like Alan Watts, it just adds this richer, more interconnected layer to how we understand our place in it all.
Okay, so let's jump into the science first.
Yeah.
Panspermia. Can you break that down a bit? It sounds like instead of life starting from scratch in some earthly primordial soup.
Right, exactly. Panspermia basically proposes that the essential ingredients, maybe even really early forms of microbial life, hitched a ride to Earth. They came via cosmic travelers, meteorites, comets, that kind of thing.
So these space rocks weren't just rocks. They might have been like cosmic delivery vans for life's first bits.
That's a great way to put it, cosmic delivery systems. And look, you said, this isn't just, idle speculation. There have been some genuinely groundbreaking discoveries pointing in this direction.
Okay, like what?
Well, a huge one was finding amino acids in the Murchison meteorite back in 1969. Amino acids are, absolutely crucial. They're the building blocks for proteins, which do all the work in our cells.
All right, fundamentals.
The real fundamentals. And the fact that they found over 70 different types inside this rock from space and later studies confirmed they were definitely extraterrestrial, that strongly suggests the raw materials for life aren't unique to Earth.
Wow, 70 kinds.
Yeah. And we've also found other complex organic molecules like hydrocarbons, the stuff you find in living things in another meteorite, the Allende meteorite. It paints this picture of the cosmos as this vast chemical lab constantly churning out the ingredients for life.
A cosmic lab. I like that image. It really shifts your perspective, doesn't it? It makes you wonder where else life might pop up. And it feels like it connects to something Alan Watts talked about, his idea of a universe that's like fundamentally cooperative and interconnected. He had that great quote.
Everything cooperated with him because he had touched the key.
That's the one. It's like the universe itself is actively involved in creation, not just random.
That's a brilliant connection. Watt's idea of evolution being a constant delegation of authority fits so well with panspermia. Think about it. The universe delegates the job of making these basic organic molecules to stars and interstellar clouds.
Right.
Then those molecules get packed into asteroids and comets, which in turn delegate the delivery job to planets like early Earth. It's a much more sort of flowing, interconnected picture than just random chance happening only here.
So it's not just one simple theory then, panspermia? Our sources mention different kinds, right?
That's correct. The main one, the most accepted scientifically, is natural panspermia. That's what we've mostly been talking about, organic molecules, maybe microbes traveling naturally through space.
Okay.
But then there's directed panspermia. That's the more provocative idea that life might have been intentionally sent here by an advanced alien civilization.
Whoa. Okay, that's a big leap.
It is. And there's also radiative panspermia, the idea that maybe some really tough microbes could survive space radiation and just drift between planets. But yeah, natural panspermia has the most solid evidence right now. Directed panspermia, though, that links, interestingly, to some of those ancient myths we'll get to.
Right. Let's dig a bit more into these meteorites first. You mentioned the amino acids in Murchison. What else have these cosmic messengers revealed?
Well, beyond just the variety of amino acids, including key ones we use, like glycine and alanine murchison, also contain nucleobases.
Nucleobases,
Yeah.
like in DNA and RNA. The genetic letters.
Exactly. Finding those suggests that even the components needed for heredity, for passing on information, were already present in the early solar system. The Alend meteorite had sugars and other complex organics too. Finding this stuff in multiple meteorites points to this, like, widespread prebiotic chemistry happening out there.
So it wasn't just a one-off thing.
Doesn't seem like it. And it's not just finding them. Scientists have done lab experiments simulating space conditions on comets and stuff, showing that amino acids can form in those icy environments. Researchers in Nice did that back in 2008. It gives us a plausible way these things could actually form out there.
Okay, so we're not just finding the ingredients, we're figuring out the potential recipes too. That definitely boosts the whole cosmic origin idea. And it wasn't just meteorites giving us clues, right? Space missions played a part too.
Oh, absolutely. NASA's Stardust mission back in '99 was incredible. It literally flew up to Comet Wild 2, grabbed dust from its tail, and brought it back home.
Wow, actually brought back samples.
Yeah. And analyzing that dust showed glycine, that key amino acid again, and other complex organics. That was huge. Published in Science in 2006. It showed comets, these icy wanderers, could also be carrying life's building blocks.
Some meteorites and comets.
And then ESA's Rosetta mission, which studied Comet 67P for over 2 years. It also found glycine and a whole bunch of other organic compounds. Those findings came out in Science Advances in 2016. These missions give us direct physical proof of organics inside comets.
It's like these comets are cosmic snowballs packed with the good stuff for life.
Exactly. And to make the case even stronger, there were experiments like ESA's Exposé on the International Space Station. They basically stuck amino acids outside in space for ages.
Seriously, just left them out there.
Pretty much, exposed them to the radiation, the vacuum, everything. And the results, published in Astrobiology in 2012, showed some amino acids could actually survive those conditions.
Okay, that tackles a big hurdle, doesn't it? Can this stuff actually survive the trip?
It does. It addresses that key challenge. Could organic molecules really withstand interstellar travel? The answer seems to be, for some of them at least, yes.
So let's recap. We've got the building blocks scattered around the cosmos. We have delivery systems like meteorites and comets, and we have evidence the blocks can survive the journey. It really starts to paint a picture of a universe that might be way more biologically active than we thought, like that living universe idea in our sources.
Precisely. And then you add in the discovery of thousands, literally thousands of planets orbiting other stars. Many of them are in the habitable zone where liquid water could exist.
Thanks to things like the Kepler telescope, right?
Largely, yes. We're talking over 5,500 confirmed exoplanets by 2025. And estimates suggest there could be billions of potentially habitable planets just in our Milky Way galaxy. A 2020 study in the Astrophysical Journal highlighted that. Billions. The chances of organic stuff from space-seeding life elsewhere start looking pretty compelling.
Yeah, the numbers are staggering.
It really resonates with Watt's idea of the great Tao flows everywhere. Maybe life itself is just a fundamental, pervasive part of how the universe works.
Okay, this is where my mind starts bending a bit.
Yeah.
If the basic ingredients for life are so common, what does that really mean for us, for our place in everything?
Yeah.
And does this make that idea of directed panspermia, life being sent here on purpose, seem a little less crazy?
It definitely opens up those huge questions. If life's ingredients are cosmic, it implies we're part of a much bigger story, an interconnected cosmic drama. And while, yes, the science currently points towards natural panspermia being more likely, all these discoveries create a backdrop where directed panspermia intentional seeding feels, well, less like pure fiction. It makes you wonder, could other civilizations, maybe way older and more advanced, have played a part in life starting here?
It's a truly tantalizing thought, isn't it?
Okay.
Let's pivot now to Alan Watts. Our sources call him a teller of cosmic stories, bridging ancient wisdom and modern ideas.
Watts was amazing at that. He could take these really deep, sometimes complex philosophical concepts and make them feel relevant, almost tangible in our own lives. And his idea of a cooperative universe is absolutely central to how he might view something like panspermia.
Right, that quote again, everything cooperated with him because he had touched the key. It gives you this feeling that the universe isn't just random chaos, but this intricate system where things are connected and, well, cooperating.
Exactly. He used that wonderful image of the balsa wood raft. If you just trust the water's flow, the raft does its job. He argued that if we learn to trust the deeper currents of the universe, everything kind of cooperates. So applying that to panspermia, the journey of organics through space, the collisions, the deliveries, maybe it's not just random chance. Maybe it's part of this grand cosmic collaboration, the universe's way of spreading life.
And what about his view of evolution as constant delegation of authority? How does that tie in with life arriving from the stars?
Well, for Watts, evolution wasn't some rigid top-down plan. It was more like the universe continually entrusting its creative power to more complex systems. Panspermia fits beautifully. The universe delegates the creation of the basic ingredients, these organic molecules, to stars, comets, asteroids.
Okay, the initial delegation.
Right. Then, when these bodies land on a fertile planet like Earth, they become the new authorities for the next stage. It's like the universe gives life a cosmic kickstart through this delegation process.
That's a really cool way to think about it. It kind of reframes randomness within this bigger picture of cooperation and delegated creation. He also talked about synergy, didn't he? Synergy is the intelligence of a highly complex system.
He did. And natural panspermia, when you think about it, star formation, making elements, asteroids forming, comets traveling, planets getting hit. It's a perfect example of cosmic synergy. It's not just one thing, it's this whole chain of interconnected events working together to spread life's building blocks. The fact we find these molecules everywhere suggests this deep interconnectedness, a kind of inherent intelligence in the universe's workings.
And trust. That seems to be the real linchpin in Watt's philosophy. The way to become one with the universe is to trust it. How does that apply to the mystery of where life came from?
For Watts, trust means embracing the mystery without needing absolute final answers for everything. With the origin of life, whether it's panspermia or something else, there's still so many unknowns, right, Ori?
For sure.
Trusting the universe here means being open to all the possibilities, even the wild ones, without needing total certainty. It's about having awe and wonder, not just demanding proof.
He even said something beautiful about that uncertainty, didn't he? Like, I don't know is the same thing as I love.
I let go, I don't try to hold on to it. Yeah. The origin of life is a huge mystery. Watts encourages us to approach it with humility and wonder. Not just demanding a single, simple answer. Saying, I don't know, becomes an act of acceptance, of letting go of control, maybe even a form of love for the sheer complexity of it all.
That feels really relevant today, you know? In our tech-driven world, we're always trying to analyze, control, figure everything out.
Absolutely. Watts often warned against that obsession with control. Remember his parable of the overworked laborer. Always striving, never fulfilled. Panspermia, especially the idea that life might have arrived via processes beyond Earth's control, really challenges that need for us to be in charge of our own origin story. Watt's idea of a practical utopia was based on trust, on recognizing the universe operates on principles maybe beyond our full grasp.
So pulling it all together, how do you think Watts would have seen panspermia?
He probably would have seen it as this beautiful, profound example of cosmic cooperation, where literally everything cooperated. Stars make the elements, comets and asteroids deliver them, planets provide the home. It's this grand, interconnected cosmic dance, a testament to the universe's creativity and the wisdom of just trusting how it unfolds.
Yeah, it's definitely a more poetic, connected view than just seeing it as random chemistry. Okay, let's shift gears again. Ancient myths, specifically the Sumerian stories of star gods. This feels like a totally different lens.
It is, but what's fascinating is how these ancient stories from way before modern science might echo some of these scientific and philosophical ideas we've been discussing. The Sumerians, one of the earliest civilizations we know of, left behind these incredible myths about beings from the sky shaping humanity.
And our sources link these myths directly to that idea of directed panspermia intentional seeding by ETs.
That's the really provocative connection. While science looks at natural processes, these myths tell stories of intentional creation from the cosmos. And it's interesting to think how someone like Watts, who loved interpreting ancient wisdom, might have looked at these.
He saw them as reflecting a deeper flow, right? Not literal history, but symbolic truths.
Exactly. Watts was brilliant at seeing past the literal surface of myths to the wisdom underneath. The Sumerian myths, like the Enuma Elish epic, talk about the Anunnaki, often translated as those who from heaven to earth came. They're shown playing this key role in creating humans, shaping us from clay mixed with some kind of divine essence.
Beings coming from heaven to create us. Yeah, you can see the connection to an external source for life. And our sources mention Zecharia Sitchin's interpretation in The 12th Planet, suggesting the Anunnaki were literal aliens.
Sitchin's work definitely grabbed a lot of attention, proposing the Anunnaki were actual beings from another planet who came here and meddled with our creation. Now, that interpretation isn't widely accepted by mainstream scientists or historians.
And it's pretty controversial.
Very. But it acts as this interesting, albeit speculative, bridge between ancient myth and the modern concept of directed panspermia.
Still, you can't help but notice some parallels between the myths and science. Life brought from heaven. Maybe that echoes organic molecules delivered by comets, these heavenly bodies.
It's a compelling parallel. And the Sumerian idea of us being made from clay, maybe that symbolizes the terrestrial minerals, the clays on early Earth that scientists think might have catalyzed crucial prebiotic reactions. There was that 2015 study in Nature about Montmorillonite clays helping form complex organics.
So the Anunnaki, as intentional creators in the myth, could be seen as a mythical take on directed panspermia.
The connection is definitely thought-provoking, and while, again, we have no direct proof of intentional seeding, those exposed experiments showing organics can survive space travel at least suggest intentional transport isn't physically impossible.
And it wasn't just the Sumerians talking about star connections, was it? Our sources mention others.
That's right. You've got the Egyptian myth of Ra creating life from cosmic chaos, the Vedic Rig Veda in India describing Deva's sowing creation, and the really fascinating Dogon mythology from Mali. They talk about the Nomo beings coming from Sirius, bringing knowledge and life.
Oh yeah, the Dogon are interesting because of their supposedly accurate knowledge about Sirius B, the companion star, way before Western astronomers found it, right?
Exactly. That detail makes their story particularly intriguing, though the origins of that knowledge are debated. But the point is, this theme pops up globally. Humanity having some kind of intuitive sense of connection to the stars, a feeling that our origins lie beyond just Earth.
And Watts, with his broad view, saw these as different cultural ways of expressing that same intuition.
Precisely. For Watts, they weren't literal history lessons, but different cultural lenses trying to grasp the same underlying universal flow, the same mystery of existence. They reflected our innate sense of being connected to the wider cosmos.
And these myths often led to spiritual practices, ways to connect with the sky, right?
They often did. For many ancient cultures, stars weren't just lights. They were powerful symbols, gods, cosmic forces. Rituals honoring them were common, reflecting this deep human fascination with the heavens and our place in it all.
It's like we've always looked up and wondered, and these myths are some of our earliest answers. Okay, let's transition now to the modern scientific search for alien intelligence. This feels like another path towards potentially understanding directed panspermia.
It is, because if advanced technological civilizations do exist out there, then the possibility they could have intentionally seeded life elsewhere, maybe even here, becomes a scientifically valid question to ask, even if we don't know the odds.
And that brings us to SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Listening for cosmic phone calls, basically.
Pretty much. SETI projects use these huge radio telescopes, think Arecibo, sadly gone now, or the Allen Telescope Array scanning for signals that look artificial, not natural. The famous WOW signal from 77 is still this tantalizing, unexplained blip.
Still unexplained after all this time.
Yep. No definitive confirmed signal from ET yet as of 2025. Projects like Breakthrough Listen are pushing ahead with better tech.
It's a long shot, maybe, but imagine finding out we're not alone. That would change everything. It makes you think about the Drake equation, trying to estimate the chances of other civilizations.
Yes, the Drake equation from 1961. It's such a great thought experiment. It breaks down the question into factors. How fast stars form, how many have planets, how many of those could support life, how often life becomes intelligent, how often that intelligence develops communication tech, and how long such civilizations last.
Lots of unknowns in there.
Huge unknowns. The values are hotly debated. But it gives us a framework, and it connects back to Watt's idea of the universe investigating itself, doesn't it? Our search could be one part of the cosmos, trying to understand its own potential for consciousness.
Like the universe looking in the mirror. And the whole field of astrobiology, finding all these exoplanets, adds to this picture too. We're finding more and more potential homes for life.
The progress is stunning. Over 5,500 confirmed exoplanets now, many in the habitable zone where liquid water might exist. We mentioned that estimate of billions of potentially habitable planets just in our galaxy. And now the James Webb Space Telescope is actually analyzing the atmospheres of some of these worlds, looking for biomarkers, chemical hints of life.
Wow. So no smoking gun yet for ET, but we're finding more places where life could be. This supports natural panspermia, definitely more targets for those cosmic seeds, but it also keeps the door open for directed panspermia, right?
Exactly. Like we mentioned, even Francis Crick, co-discoverer of DNA, seriously proposed directed panspermia back in '73. Finding so many potential homes makes the idea of an advanced civilization sending life out seem, well, slightly more conceivable, even if it's still pure speculation scientifically.
But of course, there's skepticism, the big one. The Fermi paradox. Where is everybody? If life is common or civilizations arise, why haven't we seen any sign?
And that skepticism is crucial for science. The Fermi paradox is a powerful question. Why the silence? And there are strong arguments, like from Paul Davies, that natural chemistry can explain space organics just fine, no aliens needed.
Right.
And those exposé experiments, they show survival, not intent. And interpreting ancient myths as literal alien visits is, not something most historians or archaeologists buy into.
So how would Alan Watts navigate this tension between the search and the silence? The possibility and the lack of proof?
Watts, as our source points out, saw science as powerful but limited. Skepticism is good, but it shouldn't block appreciating mystery. He said the data for a decision is infinite, meaning we never have absolute knowledge. He'd likely say the absence of proof for ET or directed panspermia isn't proof of their absence. It's maybe an invitation to stay open, to trust the flow, even what's beyond our current science.
So even without answers, the asking, the wondering, is valuable in itself. Okay, let's bring this home now into spiritual practices. If we entertain this idea of a deep cosmic connection hinted at by panspermia, echoed in myths, how can we actually feel that more in our lives, inspired by Watts?
This is where we shift from just thinking about it to actually experiencing it. And Watts's core idea of trust, the way to become one with the universe is to trust it, is the key. It's about consciously trying to align our own awareness with the vastness, the interconnectedness of everything.
Our sources talk about stellar meditation, inspired by those old Sumerian rituals honoring stars. What does that look like?
It's a way to try and cultivate that felt sense of connection. You find a quiet, dark place, see the stars clearly, then you gently focus on one bright star. Let your awareness expand out towards its light, the space around it. The idea is to imagine that light, maybe containing the very stuff you're made of, connecting with your own consciousness.
That's a beautiful image, connecting back to our own origins. And it fits Watts' idea of letting go, trusting the flow of thoughts, right?
Exactly. You just observe thoughts and feelings without clinging to them, trusting you're part of this huge cosmic process. And interestingly, neuroscience research, like Andrew Newberg's work, suggests contemplative practices under the sky can decrease activity in the brain's parietal lobe, the bit dealing with self and space. That sometimes correlates with feelings of unity, of oneness.
Wow, a possible brain basis for feeling cosmic unity. The sources also mention rituals of trust, inspired by Sumerian offerings. What are those about?
They're symbolic acts to embody trust and connection. You take inspiration from ancient traditions acknowledging celestial power, maybe choose a clear night, find a small natural object, a stone, a leaf, sit under the stars, hold the object, focus on an intention, like connecting to the cosmic flow that shaped you. Then, you place the object on the ground as a symbolic offering, an act of surrender, trusting the universe's process.
A physical act to anchor that inner feeling. And the sources mention psychologist Jesse Baring's research showing rituals can increase our sense of purpose and connection.
Yes, intentional rituals can be powerful meaning makers, fostering belonging. Engaging consciously with the cosmos reinforces that we're not isolated, but part of a huge system. And trust, Watts' key ingredient, is the catalyst. It lets us release the need for control and open up. Plus, research by Yu and Tang suggests these surrender-based practices can increase brain coherence, which is linked to well-being.
Okay, for someone listening who's intrigued but maybe thinks, where do I even start? Our sources give a practical guide.
Yeah, a gentle way in. Find a clear night away from lights, get comfy with a blanket, maybe pick a symbolic object, set a gentle intention just to feel more connected. Start with some deep breaths, relax your body, let thoughts drift for maybe 5 minutes.
Relax first.
Then focus gently on a bright star for about 10 minutes. Imagine that light connecting to you. Maybe think about how your elements came from stars. Trust the silence, whatever comes up. Afterwards, hold your object, reaffirm your intention to connect with the flow that created you, then place it down as an offering, a gesture of trust.
And then what?
The guide suggests maybe journaling about it, practicing regularly but patiently without expecting fireworks. And importantly, if it brings up difficult feelings, talk to a professional. It's about gentle exploration.
It sounds like a really grounded, accessible way to start feeling that connection, feeling part of that stellar process.
Exactly. It's not about having some specific mystical vision. It's about cultivating openness, trust, and connection to this vast, mysterious universe that maybe, just maybe, seeded us in the first place.
So, wow, we've covered a lot. We journeyed through panspermia, the science of stellar seeds. We looked at Sumerian myths, the Anunnaki hinting at cosmic origins, and Alan Watts' philosophy of cooperation and trust.
And we came back to that big question, were we sown by a cosmic intelligence? The answer seems less like a simple yes-no and more like appreciating this incredible dance between science, ancient stories, and our own inner exploration.
Absolutely. And for you listening along with us on this stellar journey, thank you. We have some final thoughts and an invitation for you.
Alan Watts' legacy feels especially relevant here. His idea of a cooperative universe clicks so well with finding organics everywhere in space. His concept of evolution as delegation offers this amazing lens on how life might get started. And maybe most importantly, he taught us to embrace mystery, find peace, even joy in not knowing everything. Remember, I don't know is the same thing as I love.
And we can bring this into our lives. Stellar meditation, rituals of trust. Even just asking in daily challenges, how can I flow with this? Keeping a journal about those moments of connection, especially under the stars.
Now, halfway through our exploration today, I want to share some good news with you. If you are enjoying this deep dive and take a moment to like this video and leave a comment, YouTube will gain a better understanding of your interests and will be more likely to recommend similar content to you in the future. So please take a moment to like and comment, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and share this video with anyone who might find it interesting.
And here's our invitation to you. We genuinely love to hear about your personal connection to the cosmos. Have you ever looked at the stars and just felt belonging? Part of something immense, had an insight meditating under the sky, or maybe a story about how trusting the flow changed things for you. Please share your stories, your thoughts, even your respectful skepticism down in the comments.
Your experiences really do add to this shared human journey of seeking meaning and connection. This tapestry some might call the quantum soul.
And if you enjoyed this dive into stellar origins, we've got more explorations coming up. We're planning deep dives into Alan Watts and modern shamanism, and also the science of intuition.
So definitely subscribe to the deep dive so you don't miss those stellar journeys.
And one last thought to leave you with. Next time you're meditating or just looking up at the stars, maybe ask yourself, how is my trust, right now, aligning me with the cosmos? Feel free to share any reflections in the community comments.
You should now see 2 videos pop up on your screen. Go ahead and click on whichever one sparks your curiosity to continue your journey.